until now, to create charts from Notion databases, you would have used third-party services. And a few months ago, I recorded a full video outlining all the options out there to build charts from Notion databases. Right now, you can build charts natively in Notion. So that is a big change and a very significant new feature that unlocks new possibilities within Notion workspaces, because until now, you could build quite complex workspaces and relational databases, but you could not visualize the data natively in a simple way within Notion unless you embedded third-party services. So in this video, we are exploring Notion charts. That is the latest feature that was just released by Notion, going through the plan details in terms of what charts are included in which plan, as well as creating charts and how you can customize the charts according to your needs after specifying the metrics that you want to visualize and the analytics that you want to get insights from. The first thing to know about charts in Notion is that they are limited on the free plan, whereas unlimited on the plus plan and higher. And when it comes to building charts, the data structure of your databases becomes increasingly more important, because if you want to get insights from the data, having centralized databases that relate with each other, properly structured to extract the insights that you need, is a very important endeavor to think about when building the Notion workspace or when updating it to properly visualize that data through Notion charts. Now, as an example, here is what a chart can look like in Notion. You can see charts are essentially a type of view, and in a few minutes we are seeing exactly how to build a chart. But you can see here in this example deals database, there are different chart views that I have created to get insights from deals. So this can be valuable for a company that works with B2B clients and wants to keep track of their deals value per month, for example. And here there is a filter in this chart that only shows the deals that are closed won, so the ones that actually became clients. And then you can see by month on the x-axis how the total amount of value for those deals on each month develop over time. And this is a bar chart, but there are also other chart types such as line charts or pie charts. And if you want to see, for example, the deals close rate, I can see this pie chart here that shows by each status what's the total number of deals closed. So I can see closed one is the green one, and that is 51% of deals in the CRM database, in the deals pipeline, have been closed won. And then if I hover over here, I can see 46% close lost, and then there are also other percentages here. I'm also able to click on a specific status, such as this one, to remove it visually, temporarily from the visualization, or I can readd it by clicking again on it. Charts are essentially a database view in Notion, which means you can create database views in the source database directly as a tab, or you can also create linked database views on any Notion page. So as an example, here is a dashboard for data analytics, where, for example, we can have analytics by specific database. So if I open meetings, I can see data about meetings. Let's say how many meetings I've had per month from the oldest month in the system to the newest one. Meetings by year, by type, the camera choice, camera on, camera off, for example. I can see deals that I showed you earlier with different insights about those deals. I can also see data about projects. For example, I can see the used capacity per month. So the concept of capacity is something that I first heard from Daniel Priestley, and is essentially what's the cap, what's the total amount of projects that you can confidently and fully do in each month. And in this case, I track what's the monthly capacity and what's the actual capacity that I've used. So how many projects have I worked on each month? And here I can see that trend over time, and I can see task data, training data. So these kind of visualizations can also be embedded on the page. That is the point. Now let's get into the most important thing, that is how do we create charts in Notion. For this, I'm going to be using the deals database in 24 assets. That is a template that's also available on my profile in the Notion template gallery. And in here you can see we do not have any graphs yet. So I'm going to create a new view here, and this view will be a chart view. So we select chart, and now you can see the settings is very similar to what I will see when I create a view. So in here I can select the icon if I want to customize it. I can give it a name, for example, value by month close. I can also set a description of the view that is also available on any other view. Then I can select the layout, that is chart already selected, and in here I can specify the chart type. I can have vertical bars, horizontal bars, a line chart, or a donut. So if you look at the vertical bar, that is sufficient for what I want to visualize, and I want to see on the x-axis down here, I want to see the close date, in particular the close date by month. I want to go from the oldest one to the newest one. That is true. And I want to omit zero values. Yes, I'm going to toggle this on. If I toggle this off, it doesn't show zero values. On the y-axis in here, I want to see the value sum. So the value is a numeric property that I have in this database, and that tracks what's the value of that deal. So each deal will have a value in dollars, as you can see here. So in this case, I want to aggregate all the values by month month closed. So I can see already then in October, there is a value of $20,000. And then I can further group the view by a specific property. In this case, I don't want to implement this. But for example, if I had multiple salespeople, I could group the view by the owner of that deal so that in here, I can quickly filter by the specific salesperson and see the value of the deals closed for each month. So you can see how powerful this can become. And the only limit is really the imagination and potentially the graph types available in Notion right now. But really the insights that you can get are fully dependent on the data that you track in your database and whether that data is structured properly and centralized to be displayed in graphs. So that's why making very good decisions about the database structure becomes increasingly more important for having high integrity insights. So in here, I'm going to do none. If I want to do it cumulative, that is summing the values from the previous month plus the current month, then I can turn this on. This is useful, for example, for compound interest graphs. But in this case, I do not want to see that. I can also customize the color here. And there are only preset colors as of today. I like to go colorless, for example, but there are also other combinations here, for example, red or teal, which I like as well. And then most style options here, I can set the height of the graph. Let's do extra large. You can see it spans across a higher height on the view. I can go large, medium, and I'll keep medium. And then the grid line, I'm going to show both. The grid lines are these lines that show horizontally and vertically. And then I can also color by the value that is purely decided by Notion, so I can't control that. And then the axis name, I want to actually show the axis name. So here they appear on the x-axis is the close date, and on the y-axis is the sum of the value. And these are grouped by month. And finally, I also want to filter this to make sure that we only display the deals that are actually closed won. So I'm going to set the status to be closed won. Okay, so here is where I can access the filters. I can also add additional preset filters as in any other view. And I can see here we only have in July, for now, $13,000 of deals closed won. And then if I want to drill down into the data, I can then see the pipeline or these other table views that show me exactly the specific deals and the values. And finally, you can see there are some additional settings. In particular, one useful feature is that you can save the chart as an image. So you can download it as a PNG or copy it as a PNG. You can also select the background. So I think this is a very nice feature, so that if you want to share the graphs quickly with someone that is not part of your Notion workspace, just to get them insights about specific data that you don't want them to access, but you do not want them to access the entire Notion database, then you can just download the graph, send it to them, and this will give them an image of the data. And that concludes the overview of Notion charts and everything you need to know as of today when it comes to building charts, customizing them, and visualizing data in your Notion workspace natively without needing to use external tools. You can find relevant links in the description of this video. Feel free to leave comments, questions, or feedback in the comment section of this video. And for now, thank you for watching and see you in the next one.